Good afternoon. We are students of the Universidad Mexiquense del Bicentenario, Unit Tepoztlán. We will talk about of the non-35, focusing on the psychosocial risk factors. For a start, it is necessary to know what is the psychosocial risk factors. In prevention of occupational risk, we call psychosocial factors those risk factors for health that originate in the organization of work and that generate responses of a psychosocial type, neuroendocrine reactions, emotional feelings of anxiety, depression, alienation, empathy, cognitive restriction of perception, the ability to concentrate, creativity, or decision making, etc. And behavioral abuse of alcohol, tobacco, drugs, violence, taking of necessary risk, that they are popularly known as stress, and they can be precursors of disease in certain circumstances of intensity, frequency, and duration. Psychosocial risk factors are those characteristics of working conditions and above all of their organization that affect people's health, psychosocial and psychosocial mechanisms that we will also call stressors related to condition of the work environment, demands beyond capabilities, level of responsibility and mental load, lack of autonomy about work, time, and organization of work, poor definition of the role and task content, conflicts in the family work or relationship, common and uncommon explanation styles, harassment, discrimination, and violence. They can be divided into conditions of the work environment, demands beyond capabilities, level of responsibility, and mental load. Now, I will talk about of the origin of the non-35 and the 7 fundamental risk factors. Validated by the Ministry of Labor and Social Prevention, the new official Mexican standard, NOM 35, came into force since October, in which prevention measures are identified, analyzed, and establishing of the factor of psychosocial risk in the work environment. This regulation projected signs and published in the official gazette of the federal in 2018, involves all companies without distinction of size, from micro to large companies. So it is expected to have a positive impact on the work environment in Mexico. Faced with such a scenario, the STPAs acted on the matter with this new regulation, appealing to the solution of 7 fundamental risk factors. Conditions in the work environment that requires additional effort to adapt to the worker due to being in an unsafe, unhealthy, or deficient context, exposing them to dangerous situation. Work law. Work demands that impose on the employee activities that are beyond their quantitative responsibility, cognitive capacities, or contradictory of unconscious work. Lack of control leads to the worker from the possibility of influencing or making decisions in the various aspects of their activities, depriving them of autonomy, initiative, and development of knowledge and skills. Excessive working hours and shift rotation. This factor poses the psychosocial health of the staff at risk when working hours are exceeded if there is constant shift rotation and night shift without clearly established rest periods in accordance with the federal labor law. Interference with the family relationship. When family life or personal activities are constantly interrupted due to having to attend to work market outside of work hours, leadership and negative labor relationships refers to the bad relationship of the employee with his employer and covers marked by aggressive, impulsive attitudes, lack of social support, and collaboration. Workplace violence, abuse in general, harassment, and harassment, which are notorious for constant verbal insults, humiliation, intimidation, discredit, rejection, threats, teasing, ridicule, and so on. It should be noted that this rule does not include sexual harassment because it is already contemplated in the federal labor law. In these articles 46, 51, 133, 135, and 994. Work environment conditions. The result of the work depends largely on the environment in which it takes place. The climate between colleges, of course, but also the correct lighting and comfortable temperature. Having adequate tools, having worker protection measures and equality conditions for their use are essential for the quality of the final result. Demands beyond capacities. The direction of the workers will depend on their abilities, needs, expectations, culture, and their private life. Level of responsibility and mental work. Mental workload factors. Mental workload is a concept that is used to refer to the set of stresses induced in a person by the demands of the mental work that he performs. Processing of information from the environment from previous knowledge, activity of recall, reasoning, and research solution. For given person, the relationship between the demand of his work and the mental resource available to cope with those demands expresses that mental workload.